Hey, yo, what up?
Hi, people.
What up?
It's a good Wednesday.
What up?
What up with you?
What up?
What up?
I'm,
I don't know how to riff with that. I feel a storm brewing outside.
mm-hmm. I heard that cold front's coming through.
Uh-huh. Ooh.
That New York weather. That New York winter.
I'm ready for it.
Get ready for that negative 21 degrees in Jesus' name.
Oh, my gosh.
No, I'm just playing.
But, I do feel like we did not get an adequate winter.
I bought a jacket for nothing. I bought a
Right?
jacket to wear once a week
Right?
for the last 3 weeks.
Ooh. Guess what?
And Emily got some chickens today.
I did. I got some little chickens.
Got some chickens that are going to get eaten by our dogs by tomorrow.
No, they'll be fine.
All
Or
right.
cats. So the odds are kind of against them. But listen, I have been planning this endeavor for months now. And so I finally said, okay, this Wednesday, I'm going to go to Tractor Supply and I'm going to get these little baby chicks. And that's what I did.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm so excited.
She took it out of our savings
No, I didn't.
to buy the chickens.
They're $6 a piece, which actually are a little pricey
Better
for
put-
chicks.
Better put them $12 back in our savings. No, I'm just playing. I'm just kidding. But
But we're over here homesteaded.
yeah.
I might start making some sourdough
Facts.
again.
You know
We'll
what I
have
was thinking to
chicken,
myself?
Sourdough.
I was thinking to myself earlier, I was like, how funny it is that my parents grew up in, and I'm not saying that ours is to that extreme, but it's like some sort of farmish environment, like, like rancher environment. And that's what my parents come from. And to think where I'm at.
You're going back to your ancestral roots.
Ancestral roots, but I'm like kind of lazy.
I know. My dad,
my father-in-law will be like, Ronnie will
Seriously.
be like, hey, I'm going to call you here in a minute so you can help me bring some sheets up to the roof so we can
David's like,
nail them down.
"What?"
I'm like, what? All right.
Mind you, my dad is 69.
Yeah, I know.
And he works circles around us.
In fact,
like-
he'll set up traps in the property for like coons and
Yep. He knows how to do literally everything.
I'm outside with the dogs so they can pee and poop and
Yeah.
you just hear the coyotes going at it at night.
My dad's like, scram.
So, but hey, welcome to the Habitual Podcast, people.
Welcome to the Habitual Podcast. I am Emily Useda.
And this is David Useda. And as always, this podcast, it exists to be a self-awareness. It exists to be a catalyst, for your self-awareness. And
Our listeners could say it better than that.
And our hope and our goal is to always point you back to Jesus, people.
Your glasses are casting a shadow on your eyelids, and it makes you look like you have eyeshadow on.
Well, good thing we're not on video.
You're so pretty.
Hey, y'all keep us in prayer about this. We trying to figure out this video thing for the
Yes.
podcast. And
We want y'all to see our lovely faces.
And so y'all just keep us in prayer that we're able to figure something out. And hopefully in due time we'll be able to do video because the video is definitely helpful.
I mean, I guess
Put names
technically
to
we
faces.
could do like Instagram Live right now, but
We could, but it'd be kind
I
of
feel
weird. It's
yeah.
all right. We might be able to do that at some point here soon.
but then we can't like upload an Instagram Live to like YouTube,
Yeah. Yeah.
So
But you can connect Instagram to TikTok.
we could.
I'm pretty
To
sure you can do
TikTok
that
Live, people tuning in
at the same time as we do IG Live.
Yeah, could be. I don't know. We'll
There's a
have
way
to
of doing it.
brainstorm that
We'll have to
together.
see. But yeah, we're just we chilling. I
feel like once we go on video, I'm gonna be like a little bashful at first.
yeah,
And then I'll get, just like with recording, like now it's so easy for me,
right.
Yeah.
But
like looking over and knowing that like, okay, I'm being recorded. I have to watch my facial expressions. I can't pick my nose.
yeah. Shout out to a couple friends. I was on some podcasts this past week.
Yeah.
I was on a podcast called Grace and Good Friends podcast on Saturday with my boy Jariah. And
What up, Jariah?
yeah, so shout out to him. Y'all go check out his podcast.
Grace,
it's called Grace
and Good
Friends podcast on all streaming platforms.
His is a lot. It's a lot focused on like artist and music
And creativity
and creativity.
But he's got such a dope balance between the creativeness and the faith side of people, and so I just love how he brings those two together.
Yeah.
So
you're
pretty
hitting
cool.
up all the genres this week because we had the creative artist
And
side.
now we have the weight.
Yeah, and then
weight
our
side,
other friend, Justin who
Willoughby.
is actually going to be on the pod next week.
Yeah, that's going to be exciting.
He has a podcast called, excuse you, sir.
Sorry.
He has a podcast called 600 Pounds Down because he literally lost 600 pounds.
Yeah, his testimony
He was
is wild.
799 pounds and lost 600 of it. So he has a podcast more geared toward like health and wellness and fitness and eating and just like the mental stuff that goes along with that as well.
Yeah.
So David's just been hitting up all the genres.
Yeah.
And of course I was at work. Womp, womp, womp.
Yeah.
But that was okay because I was busy at work this week. So I feel better about work when it's busy versus when it's slow.
Yeah.
When it's slow, it's just like I'm stuck in this warehouse and I hate this.
But I'm not going to say it's okay because you should be on these things with me.
I know.
So it's a temporary
I was watching
situation.
I was watching the 600 Pounds Down live, and like everything you'd say, I'd be like, no, he should have added this in there too. I'm like, he needs me.
Yeah, for sure.
He needs me. He forgot this crucial element.
Well, there were some parts where they were like asking me about all the socials and stuff for the podcast. I'm like, oh Lord.
Yeah, he doesn't know.
I was calling on Emily like I was calling the Holy Spirit. I'm like, Emily, please give me
He doesn't know our Instagram handle for the Habitual Podcast.
Because I don't have social media.
You do have Instagram.
I have Instagram, but it's Instagram from your phone. I don't have actual access for me to be looking at it consistently. So it's not something that I go looking for.
That's why I just kept it simple. The Habitual Podcast.
Yeah.
Literally the name of our podcast.
Right. So, but I killed it. I said at the Habitual Podcast, and it, I got it the first time.
You did it. I telepathically heard you crying out for help.
Yeah.
I just couldn't leave you there.
So, all right.
Let's get to it. So David's therapist challenged him with something this past week.
Yes. This past week?
Or maybe the week before. Yeah, no, it was this past week.
With the board games?
No.
Oh. So she challenged me for us to talk about a certain topic that has been kind of prevalent recently in our marriage. And that wasn't me, this tangled up thing. This wasn't me.
So David needs a fidget spinner whenever we record this podcast because he tangles these cords up in his finger and wrecks the cord. So Anthony, if you're listening, we're so sorry.
Stop doing that. Don't get me in trouble. So my therapist, she had asked that we talk about a topic. It's a little tough to talk about. I'm a little not embarrassed to talk about it, but it's one of those things where I don't know how to talk about it because I don't know if I'm gonna say the right things. Mm-hmm. That's why before we started this episode, I just prayed that the Holy Spirit just really takes control of this episode. Mm-hmm. Just because I don't know where it'll go.
Yeah. But I feel like you're like building it up right now. And we just want y'all to know it's not anything like super crazy. It's like decisions and callings and
and kind of like
ministry.
So I had a moment earlier that kind of ties into this. I never even put two and two together, but it kind of ties into this. But so basically our session last week was just kind of talking about where I'm at with pursuing ministry full time and how does that look like for Emily and I. And Emily had expressed a while back that she was like, she has no desire to be a pastor's wife. And she doesn't have, and so that was a statement that kind of, it kind of stuck to me. And ever since then, and it's just like navigating those spaces that are just new territory, and we just don't know what that looks like. Mm-hmm. And so how do we navigate that? How do we navigate our feelings towards those things? And so we kind of discussed that, and she was like, I think it would be good that y'all would talk about this situation in real time. Yeah. And have people hear y'all talk about it.
Yeah, because this pod is like kind of therapy for us.
It is. It's like self therapy.
Yeah, it's like our hour a week that we sit down and have a conversation that's like intentional.
Yeah, but I don't think we've
Because
had.
I feel like other than this, we're like ships passing in the night. Like we don't get a lot of time.
Yeah, and I think too we haven't really had an episode where in a while where it was that could become a little confrontational.
Yeah.
You know.
Get out of here!
So,
you're sleeping on the couch tonight.
But.
I'm just kidding.
But I did have some, just to kind of tie into it, with earlier, I was kind of stressed out. I was kind of overwhelmed. Just from not knowing what this season looks like with ministry and things like that. Also just bills, adulting.
Yes, gosh. Things hitting the account we weren't expecting.
Right. And so it just kind of throws me off, and I was just kind of a little out of it today. I was in a bit of a mood, and I was listening to a conversation about control and how sometimes we want to take control of situations that are outside of our control, and so what does that look like biblically? Like biblically. And so it kind of really helped me bring some peace into my truck as I was driving throughout the day. Just kind of letting go of things that is just like it happened. Just let it go.
What happened?
Like the bills.
Oh yeah.
The what got taken out of the account, things that we weren't. I wasn't prepared for.
Just moving forward.
Because I'm normally the one that stays on top of all those things, and I'm always updating the calendar.
You're really
and
good
at the
at
same
it, too.
time, but at the same time, I also took responsibility that this one bill that got charged to our account, I did not place it in this month on the calendar. So it was not even on there. So I didn't even prepare for it because I didn't do what I normally do on a monthly basis. So I kind of took some responsibility for it that I would have known in advance.
I also should take some responsibility because I've always known that bill comes out on the 11th.
But it changed. The date
really?
changed.
But it's the 12th.
Yeah. It's the 12th.
So it probably came out on the 11th.
True. But anyways, all in all, so it kind of just helped me realize, and they used the Bible verse of, what was it? Because I had it saved here. It says, it's 2 Corinthians 10:5. We destroy every proud obstacle that keeps people from knowing God. We capture their rebellious thoughts and teach them to obey Christ. And so the teach them to obey Christ is the control that Christ has, right? And we destroy every proud obstacle represents the stewardship that's been given to us for the things that God has given to us. And so when we learn to let go of control and just let God take over the control, we're actually stewarding the peace that He's given us, all the things the tangible things that we have too. When we learn to give Him control, we're really stewarding everything that He's given us, because what He's given us is within our capacity. And when it's no longer within our capacity, then we freak out.
And I also feel like releasing trust in the Lord is a response. So like a lot of times we're like, oh my gosh, I need to do something. Especially for me, I'm like, oh, I need to do this, and it has to go this way or this way.
Yeah.
Another option is trusting in the Lord.
Yeah. Which is the giving Him control part.
Yeah, giving Him control.
Because that's what it is, to trust Him.
Yeah. But I don't want to go too far off the beaten path right now, but last week in therapy, I went through some pretty intense like EMDR sessions. And so long story short, I was in the Canton tornadoes, what is that, maybe 5 years ago by Tyler. And it really was like a life or death situation for me. Just because I think it was 5 tornadoes just ripped through literally where I was minutes before. And then I got to another gas station and I left, and that one got destroyed minutes after I left. And so it was just like this total fight or flight mode.
Yeah.
But something that Also, I feel like I repressed that trauma because that was trauma for me. Even though my mom was sitting right next to me in the car, it wasn't a trauma for her. So that's another thing. Just because you experience something doesn't mean that everyone has the same experience, you know? But so I'm having to work through this because now, like, I automatically go into fight or flight whenever we get storms or if there's a tornado watch or warning. It's like I automatically am 100% helpless,
Yeah.
you know? And but so something that I kind of was able to walk through in the MDR is like understanding the value of the fight or flight mode that I was in that situation.
Mm.
Like that was actually to protect me. Fight or flight. I had to do one of the two.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had to get out of that situation or I had to hunker down and fight it. You know, and so, but I was also trusting God in the midst of it too. And so I guess I am just kind of processing what I talked about, how trusting in God is a response,
Mm-hmm.
but sometimes you do have to put an action to trusting God.
Mm-hmm. Which is the stewardship side of it.
Yeah. And just because I had experienced trauma and just because I was panicking and I had fight or flight does not mean that I was also not trusting God.
Yeah.
You know? Like I'm like, okay, I'm trusting you, but I mean,
I'm still in a very difficult situation here.
God also things happen.
Yeah.
You know? Like I'm still in a very tough situation. I could die. That doesn't mean that you're good or bad. You know, like so, of course, I still had the adrenaline and the fight or flight, but that was still there, you know. And I do 100% believe that the Lord got me out of that situation and my mom and my dad, you know. But anyways, So trusting in God is a thing.
And also the other part of it, the stewarding part is identifying what those thoughts are before submitting them to God. So kind of it's almost like they were talking about this. And
what is this list that you're?
It's not a list, it's a Bible verse.
But what is it back? I totally lost our train of thought whenever I started talking about my trauma that I had.
SMH.
I'm sorry.
It's fine. It was just kind of taking every thought captive and submitting it to the word of the Lord, right?
Yeah.
So submitting the thought, in order for you to submit the thought, you have to identify what the thought is.
Right.
So for me, learning to give control over to the Lord is when whatever is stressing me out, I need to I need to have some self-awareness, identify what it is that I'm being stressed out about. Mm-hmm. And once I have a reason why, I need to take that thought and I need to submit it to him.
Right.
So that he can take control over that so I can let go of the stress.
Right.
But if all I'm freaking out and saying, Lord, take control, but I don't even know what it is that I need him to take control over.
Yeah.
So it's important that we identify what those thoughts are so we can submit them.
Right.
To the Lord. So that way when he does the work, we know where he did the work.
Yeah. Yeah. And I want to plug it in again that two things can be true. You can trust in God, but you can still be stressed out.
For sure.
You know, I think it's also very important that we allow ourselves to feel what we need to feel. Yeah. You know, but at some point it's like, okay, I need to anchor myself in him and I need to allow his peace to wash over me because this is too much for my body and too much for my nervous system. Yeah. You know? Yep. But it's still important not to suppress feelings. Yeah.
So, so back to the main topic of the night.
Yeah.
That's what we want to talk about. I don't know how to talk about this.
Can I want to add something. So yes, it's totally referring to it.
I was kidding.
I was going to fight you. I will fight you. I'm talking. But whenever you had mentioned that I had a statement saying that I did not want to be a pastor's wife, I kind of wanted to go into that. Okay. So it's not, how do I explain this? I don't want to be forced into the box that religion has on pastors' wives.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
You don't want to wear the big old hat?
Right? Us have coordinating uniforms.
And you up in the front going,
Praise the Lord. Hallelujah. No, but it's, I guess when I picture a pastor's wife, I think about this, like, she has her legs all crossed, has these heels all prim and proper and polished. And that's just not who I am.
Yeah, no.
You know?
For sure.
Like, and I think there's also a fear of me being pushed aside, like, not by you, but like my calling and my purpose being pushed aside and having to just come under your calling and purpose.
Yeah, and I think we need to break that mindset.
Yeah, because that's not what I want.
It's not even that that's not what you want. That's not how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Just because I have a desire to be a pastor, that doesn't mean that automatically you're forced into that same thing.
Right.
God has called you to something specific to you. And the way that you support me and what God's called me, I have to do the same and support you and lift you up and be there for you in what you need to do. And I think that the mindset within the church culture is that when somebody becomes a pastor, the wife is her only dedication is to him as a pastor. And I just don't think that's true. I don't think that's how God designed it to be. I think that a woman's role is so vital to creation, especially when you see how in the order that it came to be, right? That the woman is so important. Why would God just leave it that way?
Yeah.
I don't think God would be that careless to just be like,
well, God wouldn't have given me a calling and a purpose if it was to get rid of it and follow yours.
Yeah.
But we're called to help each other.
Absolutely.
And lift each other up and encourage each other. And so, like, I would love to be your wife, as in I would love to do hospital visits. I would love to encourage women just like I'm already doing, I would love to coordinate things in the church. Like, all of that sounds so fun to me.
Yeah.
But I don't want that to be my thing.
Right.
I don't want that to be my main thing.
No, it'd be like an extension of who you are.
Yes, I want that to be me coming alongside you in your calling, just like I would expect you to come alongside me in mine.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's kind of, and I think it also correlates too with like having kids.
Yeah.
There's a big fear that and not really since being married to you, because I know that you carry your own weight in our marriage, sometimes more than I do. Like, you will do dishes, you will do laundry, you will, do a lot of things, cook dinner, just because our schedules, but like in parenting, I know a lot of times, like, it falls more on the woman. And I do, think I probably will be like the primary parent, just because I'm good at like scheduling doctor's appointments and stuff. But like, I want you to be my equal in parenting.
Yeah.
Just like I want to be your equal in church.
Yeah.
Like,
for sure.
And yeah.
I think too, I come from the culture where church comes first. And that's a very unhealthy culture to be a part of, because the church should never be first from your family, right?
Yeah.
That's what I grew up with. That's what's been modeled to me.
And that's your tendency.
And that's my tendency, is to give myself completely and totally to the church. But then I come home and I have nothing for you.
Right.
And
which was a big conflict.
Which was a big problem,
the beginning
for sure.
of our marriage.
And so I'm learning, even now as I go through therapy, I'm learning to kind of let go of those I wouldn't even know what to call it. Those concepts, those ideas of just letting go of them because they're not healthy.
Kind of health.
Like a healthy
deconstruct
deconstruction. Yeah.
in a healthy way.
I know
yeah.
that's like a.
So how does that? Okay, so you mentioned that you have the tendency to prioritize church when you shouldn't. How is that tendency going to fit with your desire to be a pastor?
Yeah, I think the slowing down and the resting part is going to have to play a big role.
Like, what would you do though? Like, because it's same thing with everything. Like, we recognize we have to get stuff on the calendar.
Yeah.
We have to mark out places because we recognized that you stick to what's in the calendar.
Yeah.
You're committed to what's in the calendar.
Yeah.
And so, like, are we going to need a specific day that's like 100% Sabbath?
Yeah.
You know, or certain hours in the day that it's off.
Yeah.
You know, like in your own mind, have work hours is this time to this time.
Yeah.
Unless we get like a emergency call or something.
For sure. Well, I think I've. This is why I'm so grateful about Calvary, because our pastors are not even like that.
Right.
I have enough relationship with Pastor Tommy, with Pastor Dustin, with Pastor Anthony, with Pastor John, with Pastor Chris, with Pastor Denora, with Pastor Kat. Like, I have enough relationship with them to know that they're not like that. Like, they have set schedules.
Yeah.
And that has helped me understand if I go into ministry, I have that option. I'm not, if I choose to be.
But you have to choose that option.
But that's what and that's what I'm getting at. Like, if I choose to be available 24/7, that's my choosing.
Yes,
that's not because that's what I'm supposed to do. That's what I desire.
Yes.
And that's a very unhealthy desire.
Because no one else can set those boundaries for us.
Yeah. And that's why I'm so grateful that the model that we have at Calvary Church, as far as the pastoral staff, just the time that I've spent with them and I've seen them with their families and I've seen how much they dedicate vacation time and making sure that whenever there's holidays, they're very intentional about those times with their families.
Yeah. Even
down to JC, my old pastor from back at home. You know, he prioritized his family so much more than the church. And I'm so grateful that I have those examples in my life, even right now with the pastors of this church. Like, I have those examples because I can look at them and see that there's times that I've been like, hey, could we meet? Sorry, dude. I already have a prior commitment with my daughters. I already have.
It's been so perfect that we've been planted here.
Yeah.
You know?
And I've grown and learned a lot under their tutelage.
Tutelage.
Their tutelage.
That is such it's just like a nasty.
That's the word of the day, tutelage.
I feel like tutelage is in the same bracket as like dingleberry. Like, those are like common words together.
Like, I've been under
tutelage.
them. I've been under them even sometimes when they don't realize it as mentors to me and disciplers. Like, they have discipled and mentored me both at close proximity and at a distance because I've seen them at a distance. Yeah. And you know me, like what we've talked about before, that I always, when I walk into a room, I always acknowledge the dads first and I see how they interact with their kids. That's how I am with the pastors. And I see them.
You want to be a good dad.
Because I want to be a good dad.
Yeah.
But I need a sense of real-time blueprint for me to know what that even looks like.
You don't want to cast aside.
Right. And so I think as I'm moving into the season of like, I've always wanted it, but now I'm like, I'm feeling that call much stronger than ever. And now I'm like, okay, if this is going to become a thing, I need to start putting certain things into perspective and start putting them into practice, like learning to say no. Yeah. And learning to say that I'm not responsible for people's choices and decisions.
Well, like, you also I want to bring up, just the other night, you decided that after this small group semester, you're not going to be in small groups for the next semester so that you can prioritize different things.
Yeah. Like my health.
Yeah.
Working out.
That's huge.
I'm going to start meeting with a friend to start working out, and I want to start.
The fact is so special and so important that you realize that you've fed yourself a whole lot spiritually you know, and now it's time to prioritize another area. Like, it's like we have to like nurture each part of ourselves in different seasons, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
But do you want to, because I shared the part about that statement with being a pastor's wife. Do you kind of want to share about just your thoughts and opinions and things you've been battling? Because, okay, your therapist obviously gave this a challenge to you for a reason.
Yeah.
There's something difficult that you're not wanting to talk about.
Yeah.
Just say it.
I think a couple of things that makes it difficult. One of the things is I think I'm kind of afraid that I would fall back into my old ways.
How so?
The responsibility, the pressure, and also me knowing the standard for a role like that in the church, in the body of Christ. It's very big.
Price.
And the price, the sacrifice that comes with it. I don't, and I know, man, and people that would be like, well, if you just keep yourself focused on God's word and focused, then you won't even, man, to y'all can go somewhere. Because
up your butt and around the corner.
Because the reality is you don't know until you're there.
Yeah.
And so
I have a question.
Yeah.
Or you can finish your thought if you want.
Yeah. So for me, one of the couple things, I'm still kind of analyzing it, but I know there's a handful of reasons. But the one that I can think of right now is just making sure that I don't become like most of these pastors out there nowadays.
Yeah.
I don't become one of these leaders out there nowadays.
People are falling.
That are falling left and right. And it's heartbreaking. Like there's been a couple recently that I've been reading up on, and it makes me cry because it's like it's sad. Like that shouldn't have to be the headline.
Yeah.
And I guess a part of me is just like, I don't ever want to become one of those people.
Yeah. I think and I know people have been saying this for decades, but y'all, I personally believe that we're living in the last days.
Yeah.
You know, and it says in the word that the hearts of many will grow cold.
Yeah.
Whenever your heart is cold, you're doing things for you, and that's it.
Right.
There's not compassion. There's not a sense of morale and loyalty and, honor, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so people are just falling left and right, and, it's just a lot of secrecy.
Yeah.
The question that I wanted to ask you is, do you feel like you lost trust in yourself when it comes to like the pornography, shame that you have over certain things, maybe money struggles? Do you trust yourself?
I don't think I do.
Is there an area in your life that you do trust yourself?
There's lots of areas in my life where I do trust myself. I think in that, and specifically in what you're talking about, I think in this season of my life, because I don't think that's forever, but I think in this season of my life, I'm at a point where I don't trust myself at all. I don't trust myself with having social media on my phone again. I don't trust myself with being in places where I'm all alone.
Mm-hmm.
I don't trust myself with, sometimes even being in restrooms just because of my past actions and things that I've done, and so I just think right now I don't really trust myself that I could go back to the way things were when I did have access to certain things and be okay. I just don't.
Mm-hmm. What would it take for you to be able to build trust in yourself?
I think it's just time. And I think, again, just with the control thing, just learning to take every thought captive and submitting it.
There's a belief there
Yeah.
that you're believing about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Are you counseling me right now?
I don't mean to be, but it's...
Now let's do it.
like there's a belief there that you don't trust yourself, and it could be maybe like fear of failure, or
Yeah.
you don't trust yourself because you feel like anything less than perfect.
I think I still deal with the fear of failing and imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you remember any experience growing up where someone had trust in you and lost it?
all my relationships,
Okay.
all my dating relationships.
That's a ding, ding, ding,
yeah,
ding, ding.
absolutely. But those were some of my most toxic years of my life. So
I have a question.
yeah.
When have you been truly, truly proud of yourself?
I want to say when I began this journey. I'd say that's probably the most proudest I've ever been with myself.
Yeah.
Of just learning to just be open about everything.
Yeah. What else? Is there a certain situation that you can think of?
I think just like even being on Justin's podcast yesterday, him just asking questions, and I would just go down deep details, dark details about where I was at. That it even surprised him, because he was like, I didn't know these things. And he was like, you'd be surprised. Like, you walk around in the way that you just would never think that that's your story. And I think I felt proud of myself because I was able to talk about those things.
Proud of your vulnerability.
Without being shook and without tearing.
Yes. Because
the tearing tells me not tearing, tells me I'm winning this battle.
Yeah.
That
You're not having to experience it over and over.
That I can sit here and talk about it confidently without shaking, without my mouth quivering, without me tearing.
Yeah.
That I can just have this conversation as if it truly is my past. That makes me proud. I'm proud of myself for that.
Right. But at a point in time, it was good that you cried about it.
It was good. No, for sure. I'm not taking that away.
I totally understand what you mean.
But it's like eventually, there's got to be some joy in it too. It can't just always be tears. And I know that tears can also be a sign of joy.
Right.
But I think for me, in the context of what I've gone through, the tears have always played a role in having to confront something. And I like and I like the fact that I can also too, not just have tears of joy, but have a conversation while being joyful. Without having to experience tears and emotions, but just talk about it like as if, like as if it wasn't even me to begin with.
Yeah.
As if it wasn't never even my story to begin with. As if it was something that I picked up on and read in a book, and I'm just having a conversation. Like that kind of feeling.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I'm at with it now.
Yeah, because you've shared it so many times. You're like, this is nothing.
Right.
But it's something to someone listening.
It's something to listen, but to someone else that's listening for sure. But that doesn't mean that the battle stops.
Right.
And those are moments of triumph, but there's still moments of like intersections, crossroads to make decisions, for a healthier me or for a unhealthy version of me.
Yeah.
And that doesn't stop either. But I'm learning to cherish the moments of breakthrough, the moments that the Lord has delivered me, the moments where the Holy Spirit has revealed things to me, and I've taken a step forward, no matter how scared I was, to take those things and rebuke those things and release them from my life.
Yeah.
So that in itself, I'm learning to cherish those things all the while holding the tension as I grieve who I was, and also holding the tension of making sure that I don't go back to being that person. And I'm not talking about me not going back to that person as if I'm talking about my own strength. I'm just saying that there is a part that I play. There's a role that I play in all of this.
Yeah.
Too, that I need to make sure that I keep myself consecrated, that I keep myself at the feet of Jesus, that I keep myself submitted. I take the thoughts captive.
Yeah.
I submit them to the word of the Lord. I destroy all strongholds.
Yeah.
And I steward the things that God has given me. And that is a role that I need to play. And I'm just trying to be wise and careful that I don't lose sight of those things that God has blessed me with.
Which is so important.
Yeah.
So let's pretend you are a pastor, right? You are in a pastor spot.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you've been doing this for 3 years.
Yeah.
Right? You fall back into it and you mess up. You have a relapse.
Mm-hmm.
Talk me through, because the reason that I'm asking this question is because what you tell me about, like when you're flying, how you overcame your fear of flying,
Mm-hmm.
is because you thought about the worst possible case scenario and it actually gave you peace, because you're like, okay, it's pretty bad, but I know that's as far as it goes. I would die and be with Jesus, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in this situation, say you're 3 years into being a pastor, you relapse, you watch porn and masturbate.
Mm-hmm.
What's that next? What are you doing?
What am I doing after?
What's the first thing that you're doing
My
after?
first thing to do is I confess to my wife.
Okay, so you tell me, then what do you do?
Then I go to the people that I report to, and I tell them. I mean, gosh, there's so many stories, right, of pastors that do things and they keep it secret.
Yeah.
Some of them keep it secret for years.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to learn from them, because I do think that wisdom isn't just going through life experiences, but it's looking at others' experiences and saying, I'm not going to do that.
Right.
And I think that's just as wise.
Wisdom.
That's
Learning,
wisdom.
yeah.
Learning from others
so
as
you
well.
confess to your wife, you confess to your pastor. Let's say that he has the worst possible response. What do you do then?
I mean, I take an L.
Okay. What's the L?
I don't know what the L is. Whatever that.
What if he's like, you are the scum of the earth and I hate you and you're fired?
I mean, you probably get punched in the face. If I'm just being honest, probably get knocked in the mouth.
Yeah.
Because you ain't gonna talk to me like that.
Right.
I mean, I know I made a mistake, but
Yeah,
let's not get that twisted either.
Yeah.
I just take responsibility for what I did.
Yeah.
I screwed up. I messed up. And that's what I'm learning to do, is take responsibility every time that I make a mistake.
Yeah.
I already made it.
Yeah.
It doesn't do me any good trying to sit there and defend myself if I know truly in my heart that I made the mistake, I screwed up.
Yeah.
I'd rather just take the L, take responsibility for it, and whatever decision comes after that, whatever judgment or correction comes after that, that's solely because of my actions.
Right. And we would figure it out.
And we would figure it out.
You know?
Come back to Calvary. Start again. Because Tommy would take me in a heartbeat and love on me.
Yeah, he would.
He'd be upset at my actions.
Yeah.
But him and Denora would absolutely love on me.
He'd be like, Useda?
Yeah.
You're going back to renewal. Go. Where's Caroline Poe?
Yeah.
Going back. But yeah, there's definitely a risk, but I think the risk is always worth it.
It is, because I don't want to live with what ifs.
No.
Just because of fear. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to live. I don't want us. I wouldn't even want our kids, when we have kids, to live life from fear. Now, obviously, stupidity is one thing.
Right.
But to not want to, if you feel, if God is calling you to something, and you're fearful of it, I don't want you to be fearful of it.
Yeah.
I want you to take the leap and see where it goes, because I was fearful of coming here, but I took the leap, and look at us now.
Yeah.
And
exactly. Like, that's also something you should be super proud of, is up and moving to a whole different state.
Right. And now I'm almost 7 years here and married. With great in-laws.
We're about to
being in a great church, being surrounded by great people and good friends.
We're about to remodel a home.
Right. So we
just got some chickens. We're homesteaded.
I'm not taking care of those chickens.
I know. I'm taking care of them. Don't worry.
I don't want you being like, you're on your way to work and be like, oh, can you go make sure that they're not pooping?
Well, of course they're going to be pooping.
Are we getting them diapers? They got little chicken diapers.
No, they poop in the little wood shavings.
Some Bounty and use some tape.
No.
Give them a little diaper.
That would be cute, though. I did see someone on TikTok that has an indoor chicken that has a little diaper on.
That's hilarious.
But and also something that you have going for you is we have this podcast where we literally document everything in our life, you know? And so a potential employer could be like, oh, yeah, let me just listen to the podcast.
They'll know everything.
Learn everything.
So before they hire me, they know where they know where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
What I'm working towards and what I'm working to get away from.
Yeah. And your character is so strong. Any place would be so incredibly lucky to have you.
Thank you, baby.
They would, you know?
Thank you.
I'd go to bat for you. I'd say, you don't want my husband? Well, I don't want your church.
And then they walk out and the tires are slashed.
Yeah. No. I leave
I'm just playing. Sorry, I still have hood tendencies. The Lord's delivering me. Maybe.
Maybe.
Still got that dog in me.
Yeah.
Woof, woof. All right?
But, yeah, but I also think I'm kind of in that same boat, too, of, like, wanting to leave my job for the past few years, and I haven't because they pay me so well.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like I've kind of refrained from talking about that just in case any of my coworkers listen, but it's fine. It's whatever. But, yeah. So this talk has actually inspired me, too.
I think, too, it's just, it's almost worrisome with you leaving your job because
terrifying.
we rely a lot on your pay just because of the fact that you get paid. You get paid pretty well. And your benefits are outstanding.
Yeah, and
mine are better, but
no, they aren't. I will fight you till the end with this.
I have better insurance than
you. No,
you.
you don't. Your deductibles.
I have BCBG. BCBG needs. BCBG don't need you. You need BCBG.
No. It's
BCBS.
It's Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois. It's not even. It's a different
Why
state.
are you telling people my insurance info? They don't need to know what my insurance.
Mine's Aetna, just so y'all know.
You need BCBS. BCBS don't need you.
Babe, you're the one that's saying blue BCBS. You are the one sharing what your insurance is.
Yeah, but then you got to add the Illinois part. They don't need to know it's Illinois. Nobody needs
Yeah, they do because it makes it irrelevant.
No, nobody needs to be going to Illinois to begin with. There's nothing for us in Illinois.
Yeah, so why is your insurance company from Illinois? Mine's Aetna.
It's just a nickname they got.
No, it's not. Your insurance sucks compared to
the
mine.
original owner of BCBS lived in Illinois, and he moved to Texas. So they were like, "Oh, we're gonna call you BCBS Illinois."
They covered $50 on your glasses. Costco covers $175.
His name is Benny Calvin Benjamin
Button
Shield.
Anyways, guys.
Yeah, but how about you? Like, what are some things that you're fearful of?
Well, when it comes to ministry,
when it comes to the possibility of me being in ministry.
Well, the first thing is I'm not really scared of like moving churches, but I'd be sad because
we
don't even know. But I say that because previous churches that I've gone to, I have been integrated into the community very, very quickly.
And you worked for one.
Yeah, because I had the time, like my work schedule permitted that. With Calvary, it's taken me like 5 years to feel embedded in this church. And that's not because that's strictly because of my work schedule and how I'm not able to go to women's things and stuff. And the past few years, I finally started prioritizing it and taking vacation days to go to the women's stuff.
But that's not with some stress, without having to experience some stress first of having to try to figure that stuff out.
Yeah.
Because it's not just easy for you to just take a vacation day.
No, because I have to be like, well, where are we going this year?
Yeah, you need to know months in advance so you can put it in. And sometimes these events,
it's a blackout day, or it's too close to the holidays, or fill in the blank, you know? And so that would be sad, leaving, just because it took a long time for me to feel included, really, you know? I mean, aside from like you know, I feel like when I'm with you, I'm automatically included, but like as my own independent person.
Yeah.
You know? That, and also moving, you know, I feel like that's a big fear of like, we got ourselves out of a tricky situation in our last home.
Yeah.
And we're finally like in a semi-good place. And we have a goal to like remodel the home on the property and this and that. And when we start having kids, we'll have my parents close. And I'm just like praying that it's not that like the Lord doesn't make us move.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
And I don't think that's the case.
There's somebody hiring in Alaska.
Hey, I mean, nah.
It's in one of those 5 little islands that are
You
off
ready
the shore.
to be a fisherman as a part-time job?
I'm ready to live in nighttime, 24 hours a day.
I couldn't do it. Now, the daytime part I could do.
Yeah.
But that.
Yeah.
And I think also just like having a lot of expectations put on me, you know, whenever technically I'm not the one on payroll.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like if you're a pastor.
Which has been our situation.
They want to say, oh yeah, Pastor David Uceda and Pastor Emily Uceda. Like, that's nice and all, but David's the one getting paid to be a pastor.
I'm not a pastor. Yeah.
You know, like, I don't want the title without the pay. That sounds bad, but...
But let's be real here.
I mean, this is a livelihood, you know, especially if we bump up and, you know, like, this is your primary job. This is my primary job.
Yeah.
You know, so...
I'm just going to get you an official First Lady hat.
Yeah. Right?
Get you one of those big old hats with the big old flower.
But you know what? And this is senior pastor talk, right? Like this, I don't feel like it's going to be the same if, you know what I mean? Like, I think the senior pastor wife is a little bit, there are more expectations and, you know, it would be our church.
Yeah.
You know? But if it's just like an associate pastor or something, I think it's a little different.
Yeah.
But yeah, so moving away, leaving where I'm comfortable, and expectations on me, pressure on me. I think that is, and of course, there's also. I mean, honestly, I could list a ton of worries. You know, those are my own personal worries, but then also the fear of you choosing church over me.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm pretty good at putting my foot down about stuff, but I wouldn't want to. That would just cause resentment.
Yeah.
You know? But I feel like I trust you enough in that area for you to make the right choice.
Yeah.
Choose me.
Thank you, baby. I choose you every day.
You choose me every day.
Yes.
You love me.
Yes.
I love you too.
So.
Well, guys, I think we're kind of fizzling out here. We're starting to get hungry for dinner.
That's all I got. I'm hungry and I'm tired.
Yeah.
I'm ready to go home.
So, just for context, I am off on Wednesday, so I'm always like fresh, and I like show up at the church, and I'm like, yeah, let's do this. David gets off work at 4:30 and comes here directly after a full day of work. So that's why sometimes in the episode, if I'm a little more peppy, that's why. I've been napping. All right. I've been napping. I've been eating. But anyways, guys, we thank you so much for tuning in.
Yes.
Please, please, please like, share, subscribe, comment on whatever platform you listen to. That would really, really be beneficial to us.
Yeah. And also we create a poll every episode. So in the poll, we'll always say, was this episode helpful? We'd love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah.
If you click yes or no, and there should be a comment section there where you can add your little thing, you know?
Give us some feedback.
We'd love to hear from y'all.
Yeah.
So.
And we might switch it up on the poll say, do you want to win $1 million? Check yes or no.
Right.
So don't miss it.
Yep.
Don't miss it.
All right, people. We love you. Love, peace, and chicken grease. Be safe.
Bye. Peace.